in the mid left in the red. It's our French Zerg or French Protoss player. It is KenZy.
Debated.
Yeah.
Maybe he's an Omni gamer, man. 12 o'clock. It is Hawk.
I only know one Omni gamer, man, and he's sitting here with me. Some
He's,
people claim to be an Omni gamer, like Jae-yoon, but I know better.
I was gonna say, yeah, I don't think the Omni gamer is here. I think he's in Sanctuary right now.
Oh, is he? No,
You know,
he better not be.
Yesterday I was streaming, and then Oya came into my chat. You know, love that guy, man. He's hilarious. You know what? I was telling him, man, dude, I can't believe you made it out of your group. You've just been playing Diablo 2. Like, what the hell's wrong with you, man? You know what he said?
What did he say?
He said, it was just another day in Sanctuary.
Yeah, I also couldn't believe that Oya played so well in his group.
Can you believe
because,
that?
I mean, when I play any
No, that's
game,
an Omni gamer statement.
that's he can play it all, I guess. Whenever I take a break from BroodWar, I come back and it's like I need to just hide that I'm even playing for a month because it's just dreadful. It just looks so ugly.
Terran, so.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Anyway. Looks like gate first here from KenZy. He's gonna play a standard opening. You could have imagined that he could have went for something like a 2-gate at the front, but instead opting for just the 1 gate. Hawk is opening with a pull first. Overpull is gonna double drone here to harass this probe and then probably drone scout or try and take his 3rd base. Now this is what I was talking about with Koget on our last stream, Naok, and you know, because I was asking him, you and I, we both think this is a pretty solid Zerg map, but the statistics are actually quite good for Protoss. So I was thinking, well, why is that? And I think in this particular situation, when Zerg spawns clockwise from Protoss, it's really good for Zerg because their 3rd base can be that mid-right base, right, with the gas. And that's really easy to hold on to. But had the spawns been reversed, it would be much harder for Hawk rather to take the top left base at his 3rd, and he would have to take kind of like a more awkward base that's harder to defend with the Hydralisks. So I think given these spawning locations, this is looking really, really good for Zerg because Hawk, his whole game plan is just gonna be taking this right side of the map and massing a lot of units. And Protoss doesn't have any good attack paths.
Yeah, so we'll see what KenZy's going to opt for as a response to this scenario. We see that 2 zealots are already out, but no movement from them at all. Overlord has... Oh, okay, are we just going to walk in? I guess we are. His Lings are going to get on top of the gateway and also threaten the right side.
Oh man, this is going to be really hard. You have to just hold your ramp with the Zealot probe, and these 2 Zealots have to just micro to keep the gateway alive. This is probably the most technical way you could open as Protoss. You have to have really good decision making, really good micro. And Hawk is going to take this fight, but I think there's enough Zealots to actually kill the Lings. And so that was really good for KenZy. If he keeps his gateway alive, he did transfer a lot of probes. I don't know if that was like the natural transfer or he was worried that he was going to lose his gateway. His ramp is open though now, and if Hawk just walks in here, kills 2 probes, that made it almost worth it for Hawk. But I mean, look at this. KenZy hasn't missed probe production yet. I think, you know, if I'm Protoss in this situation, feels bad for losing the 2 probes, but he didn't die.
I'm just looking at Hawk's supply right now, 18 out of 19. I hope he did build an Overlord because he's still supply blocked. More links have been made, but because he's blocked, he can't build that many more links. So this, I guess he was trying to go for a potential bust. Oh, look, it just completes and he spent a lot of money. I guess if he was trying to go for a bust, that's kind of come and gone, so a bit unfortunate for Hawk there.
Yeah, now this counter pressure from Protoss is going to be really strong. Kind of doing it in the dark, but you do want to do this as KenZy to prevent Zerg from getting a free 973. Of course, like if Hawk had went for something like a Hydralisk, then after losing all of his lings, it would be almost suicide to try and go for 973 because this push just forces you into making so many lings and your economy is super compromised. But actually going for this lair, it's going to be really hard for him to deal with these zealots again.
Yeah, but this time Hawk, I think, has the appropriate amount of lings. And KenZy is going to bleed off a zealot right from the get-go. So it's going to be 3 zealots versus about 6 lings. A couple more lings will easily hold this off.
Well, yeah, but that being said, KenZy does make it down the ramp. Again, he could have chosen to hold the ramp with 2 zealots there, but does not. Instead, going for the mining. The problem with this play is that unlike most modern maps, the mineral patches aren't actually against the wall. So you would expect to be able to funnel the Zerglings, which actually he's doing a really good job, KenZy is. You'd expect to be able to sit your zealots somewhere from, you know, just playing every single day on the ladder. But surprise, this is Aztec, there's no wall there. So I think retrospectively, it would have been better for him to hold a ramp there.
We see that Hawk does not have that many drones at the third base, so for now KenZy has kept Hawk's econ in check. We saw that the lair, I think, has completed or is about to complete. Meanwhile, that is a lot of lings moving across the map. We see that that's not going to get any damage done. Now back in the main of KenZy, I imagine Stargate went down. I don't think anything unusual is happening. Yeah, Stargate's about done.
Yeah, Stargate is going to be timed out pretty nicely here. Though the lair was finished, so I imagine Hawk has put down his Spire. Wait a second, that Spire is so much faster than this lair. Of course, I mean, KenZy was making non-stop zealots that generally delays your core, and especially when you have to continuously pull probes from mining to deal with lings. And you can see, despite the fact that KenZy actually went for that 4 zealot harass, he has 4 zealots or 5 zealots already off of 1 gate, so non-stop pumping out units off of that gateway has delayed his tech significantly enough to where there's an opening here for Mutalisks. Looking at Hawk's base though, did he choose to go for that? I think he's got 5 hatch going, so probably only Scourge for now, but he always has that option to just make a couple Mutalisks. +1 air weapons being upgraded by KenZy though, so... And he is making a cannon in time. So actually, I don't think he's going for Mutalisks.
5th hatch going down for Hawk. You can see the SimCity's already being set up at the third base. Hydrogen already up. We're going to wait for that 6th hatch that we know is going to be coming pretty soon. Meanwhile, looks like KenZy has stopped probe production, so we're going to see the gateway flood pretty soon. There's the 6th hatch, and Hawk's econ looks great right now. I don't know how many lings he has built, but looks like he probably has something like 35 to 40 drones, so his econ is pretty stellar at this point. Meanwhile, KenZy has no map presence at all, so Hawk can continue to power.
Yeah, I mean, Hawk's going to be in a fine position here economically, especially when your Spire just outpaces the Stargate like that. You don't take any damage. It's hard for Protoss sometimes to navigate this early game because you want to make zealots, but you don't want to overmake them. It's like a huge decision to cut zealots or not, to add gateways or not. And in this case, I think KenZy kind of fell behind a bit. Just allowing his tech to be delayed like this hasn't helped his position at all. And Hawk's going to have a lot of time to get the 6th hatchery going. And on this map, I mean, these zealots, what are they going to do? They're not going to be able to pressure either of these bases. And, you know, Hawk likes to play this type of style. He likes to get into the late game. So I don't know if KenZy will feel too comfortable, especially after that first game, to just sit back and take a third base himself.
Well, here comes KenZy. It's 11 zealots. +1 should be kicking in momentarily if it hasn't kicked in already. But you can see that Hawk's defense is already set up. He's pretty close in supply, 90 to 75, so he should be able to easily hold off whether KenZy attacks the natural or the third base.
Well, he's gonna walk up onto this ramp. Hawk lets him in, of course. I mean, no reason to take that fight there. He's gonna come back to his SimCity, and you can tell Zerg's in a really good position when they don't have to make songs for this timing. If he has enough Hydras to just hold on You know, if Zerg has enough time to make Hydralisks to defend the Zealot push, they're just in such a good spot. And these Corsairs, not really going to find... Sometimes you can see the Zealot attack still work in conjunction with the Corsairs, just to give the Corsairs enough space to snipe Overlords. But Hawk's positioning and the timing of this attack made it such that it's not quite possible for Protoss to do any kind of damage like that. So I would say KenZy is actually quite significantly on the back foot right now, because, you know, on most maps you would think, okay, well, it's okay, Protoss can kind of just increase their gate count and start going into Dragoon spam and just hit that nice solid timing. But Aztec, given how the map is, like how it's laid out, it's just hard to get a clean Dragoon timing off, and actually KenZy is floating a bit of money here.
Yeah, KenZy has missed his gateway flood timing. That's why you're seeing the resources back up, and that is also why he's not going to have a good goon timing. So if Hawk was to go for some huge swell of Hydras and attacks this third base, I think he may be able to bust through. But now that Templars are set up, and this also being Aztec and having the high ground, maybe that's not the case. You can see Robo just started at 11:15. A lot of times you see observers already out by then. So really delayed tech from KenZy, but for now he's getting away with it.
Yeah, and he's going to take this third base. Hawk just kind of sharking around with a couple of lings here, seeing what's up, confirming that there's a base. And pretty much it looks like we're going to have a repeat of game one, except Hawk isn't heading into the mid game with a massive disadvantage. So you can see Hawk is feeling comfortable enough to just sit back. You know, on that revolver game, he was very desperate to keep attacking, to try and make something happen to kind of like bring the game back. But this time around, he's getting lurkers much earlier. He's getting his bases much earlier. Probably his upgrades are going to be more, you know, they're going to be faster. I mean, he's still only on one Evo chamber, so not quite as clean of a progression on his build as it could be. KenZy, though, unlike the first game where he had a massive advantage and he felt comfortable enough to double forge, this game, he's sticking on that one forge.
Yeah, just 1-1 upgrades. I didn't get to see what Hawks are right now, but I imagine it's still +1 for him. Meanwhile, KenZy is moving out with a sizable army, but Hawk has a matching supply. It's 145 to 145, and he has Defender's advantage. I mean, Zerg is just going to straight up win this fight. Now, what it looks like KenZy's going to do is he's going to sit in the center of the map and take this fourth base, which has another gas, and I like this choice.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of has to, but getting into the late game here, KenZy's going to have to try and reconsider his unit composition, because he's very Zealot heavy, and this massive amount of Hydra lurk, I mean, KenZy has very few Dragoons. I think if they were to fight here, Hawk would absolutely bulldoze him, like just too many Zealots. KenZy, we have to see, fight is going to go down. One storm, fat storms. KenZy has been on top of his storms, but cannot push further into the lurker field. And again, without the big Dragoon backbone to like supplement his army, it's going to be hard for him to contest these fights in the middle of the map.
Yeah, that 1 DT on the ramp, I love it. It buys so much time, and it actually buys enough time for those cannons to get up and in, or get set up at the fourth base. Now, KenZy is going to pick off some of these Hydras pretty much for free, because there's just not an overwhelming amount of them.
Yeah, but Hawk is coming in with a huge flank from the south side. We'll have to see, are KenZy storms on point? Lurkers do burrow down. Fat storm on top of the Hydras, but these lurkers are going to town on the Zealot group as well. The storms are on point, man. Every single storm has been incredible. Corsairs finally rejoined the army. You know, I was getting a bit worried seeing those Corsairs at the bottom side of the map. They weren't there to cover for Mutalisks, but Hawk looks like he's just trying to make Hydra lurkers and attack. Fat storms, dude, non-stop, man. Like, he's had so many storms these games against Hawk, kind of keeping him in the game. His resources, though, getting a bit out of hand. Needs to add more gateways, needs to start mining the gas at his fourth base. It's hard, you know, when you have a mineral only on maps like this. Maybe KenZy, I think, a combination of overproducing probes and underproducing gateways has led to him having a bit too many minerals and not enough supply. But it looks like Hawk is going to try and push in here.
Well, there's only one observer. If he could snipe that, these lurkers would be unmatched, but the Overlord goes down, so he can't pick that off. Meanwhile, a probe transfers occurs right when the Hydras are on their doorstep, and those all fall. Now Hawk is evened up the supply, and his +2 weapon kicked in, so a huge power spike from him. He's starting to take bottom right too. Don't know about his hive. There's the answer. It has completed, so this time around he is not going to be just stuck on lair tech.
Yeah, and it was just unfortunate there. KenZy actually lost way more units than he would have otherwise had he not retreated. Sometimes you have to just sit there and fight, even if it's a losing fight, but trying to move his units back up that ramp to his 4th base just made them bleed, really, to the Zerg forces, and now KenZy's kind of in a really defensive posture here. Hawk has so much time to get his Defiler tech out to get this 5th base and the Nidus Canal as well. And Zerg's just looking incredibly strong. KenZy, to deal with Hive, you know, he's going to have to think about getting into robotics tech, getting into maybe mass Templar Zealot tech, but he is only on 3 gas. And importantly, when you try and play these long games as Protoss, you kind of have to invest into double forge. I think if you stay on 1 forge as Protoss, you're kind of telegraphing that you're going to play a much more aggressive game to try and go for those busts, to go for those like heavy mid-game Dragoon composition, Dragoon High Templar attacks. But if your plan is to just take a 3rd base, 4th base, which Aztec kind of promotes, and I think you need to be thinking about getting that 2nd forge up early. So getting into this late game, not only is KenZy's tech not ideal, he's going for arbiters, but his upgrades are also a bit underwhelming right now.
Yeah, just 2-1 for KenZy. Meanwhile, we know that Hive is done, so +3 is on the menu for Zerg, and of course the powerful Crackling upgrade, the Plague, the Dark Swarm, stuff like that. We see that even a couple more macro hatches went down for Hawk. He's got something like 9 or 10 hatches, so his macro is going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And
KenZy must do something. One of the problems with Aztec is, yeah, you can get 4 bases pretty easy, but that 5th base is in the center of the map, so exposed, it's going to be hard for him to get another one. He has to keep his army there in the center of the map, otherwise he won't be able to defend it. But at the same time, he can't attack anywhere. I mean, the defense for Hawk is great everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, Hawk is just, this is what he's really good at. I mean, remember, in the Continents battle, Hawk took down Bonneth on this map pretty convincingly, so definitely a point of comfort here. He has Niduses, he has Defilers, Hydraling, Lurker everywhere, ramps to work with. It's just impenetrable here. And I don't know where Protoss is meant to go without Reapers. And KenZy, of course, is going to try and take a fight here. I mean, as Protoss, you want to eventually kind of trade out some of these units for a better composition. But this is going to be such a good fight for Zerg that I think after this, Protoss is going to lose so much tempo. Dark Swarm all over the place. Some Storms do connect. But the Hive tech just coming in hot here and really kind of an insurmountable advantage for Zerg.
Well, Zerg is losing a lot of supply, down to 140. Drone line is getting kind of ransacked, and those Hydras are not doing any damage to Dragoons because they're sitting under the Dark Swarm. One of the hatches actually fall. This base might actually fall. Zealots are now focusing the hatchery, and still these Hydras are just wasting time on those goons. Meanwhile, a Zealot attack down the bottom right. Finally, the Hydras move into position, but 2 hatches have died.
Yeah, I guess I spoke too early, Nayak, and that was a good attack from KenZy. He killed so many drones. He killed 2 hatcheries, like you mentioned, and also these Zealots delayed this base here at the bottom for Hawk, and Hawk will have to rebuild this hatchery because this mid-right base now is mining very inefficiently. So, wow, KenZy makes something happen here. He also has 5 bases behind this, 2 upgrades. Again, if only he had that 2nd forge, because actually Hawk, I think, was a bit late on his triple Evo chamber as well. So both players a bit lagging in upgrades. Oh, he does have a 2nd forge actually, so KenZy will be able to come back quickly in the upgrade department. That Arbiter Tribunal though, Nayokin, and we saw it in game 1, didn't really see the kind of success you would expect to see from that unit. I don't know, what is he thinking? You think that's more for stasis? Is that more for recall?
Well, I mean, stasis can be good versus Zerg. You stasis their overlords and all of a sudden they can't see anything. So I know you don't like that, but I love that move. Now DT got into the mid-right position. It's already killed 2 lurkers. Now it's starting to rack up kills onto the drone line. And Hockey's starting to fall apart. He's supply blocked also. KenZy's almost max. He's got his 5th base up. He's got 4 gases.
Yeah, I mean, KenZy's doing it, man. I don't know how, but KenZy just playing out of his mind. That attack somehow worked in his favor, went up that ramp, and Hawk just didn't have quite a clean enough defense. And now, I mean, with 5 bases, with Arbiters coming, with like just mass upgrades, and Zerg is like Zerg's basically behind on bases.
Yeah, I think what KenZy's move here is attack bottom right, and at the same time draw all the units out of position, then recall instantly to the main. I mean, you can do that, and Aztec is completely wide open, so that's what I would like to see KenZy do. He needs about 1 more minute worth of energy, and then he can make that exact move. Lurkers and Hydras are trying to defend mid-right, but they're all clumped up. All the Hydras are going to die, and this might be another dead base.
Yeah, that was a fat storm. KenZy pushing through here. I mean, KenZy's late game is just immaculate. Playing out of his mind here, contesting the late game Zerg like it's nothing. Fat storms going on onto the Hydra lurker composition, and this basement right is gonna die. And with that, Hawk's supply is also plummeting. I mean, Zerg's just in the dumpster right now. I don't know, what do you do as Zerg? We haven't seen Hawk's signature defiler play. I feel like the Dark Swarms haven't been spot on. There hasn't really been plagues. Just kind of picking Hawk apart.
Yeah, well, the storms have just been immaculate hitting. I mean, I don't know if Hawk has dodged a single storm. He's kind of just eaten a storm every single time. And now look at supply, it's 184 to 115. You have to remember, oh, is that an Arbiter moving through the center of the map, going towards the top side? I think this is the exact move that you wanted to make. Draw all the units out of position, then instantly go for a recall.
Yeah, and he can recall those units that are stranded, actually. That would be amazing, because they're not really going to be too useful otherwise. I think that's what he's going to do. And you don't want to recall too many units, because this isn't a mining base, but you can kill all the tech from... okay, he didn't get that, is from his base. Oh my god, GG!
Instantly exits the game. And, I mean, recall's great in PvZ. You're talking about how good Arbiter is, and you can see it coming to fruition right there.